Hello everyone, welcome back to our Spring Boot series. Today I would like to introduce a new thing which is ResultSetExtractor. We already saw how RowMapper works, but we will be doing a little recap on this, but I will explain in some more detail what is ResultSetExtractor. In previous videos we talked about the RowMapper, how to insert, update, delete, and even to extract values as a map using the query for map, for instance, and even using query for list. But let's see what can we do after we get the result set. Sometimes we don't want to map a row to an entity. Maybe we need the whole result set and do something about it and then return a different type of object, meaning that we don't want to map each row. We want to get all the result set as an object, and then we will do the while or the interaction over the result set. Sometimes that's what we want, but since we are using JdbcTemplate, when we start to learn, we think that the only tool that we have is the RowMapper, but it's an additional tool that we can use for a complete set of different scenarios. So let's see what can we do with this. So just to recap, what is a RowMapper? It's an interface used to map each row, and this is the two words most important to define the RowMapper of a result set to an object. So this is the definition of the interface or the functional interface that it's implemented by the JdbcTemplate. So we have to provide a method or a class or an implementation for this interface. Usually we use, as you know, a lambda function like this. So when we want to use the RowMapper, we perform the query using our JdbcTemplate query, then we provide the query, the SQL query, and then we provide our implementation for this interface, which is this one. And you can see here that we have these two parameters, a result set and a row number, and here they are, the two parameters, and then we can do whatever we want with these parameters. Usually we use the result set to extract the values of the columns defined in the row returned by the JdbcTemplate to us. It's something that we already discussed several times in our previous videos. If it's the first time you are seeing this, please check at least my latest, probably 5 videos, where when I started to talk about JdbcTemplate, I have talked a lot about this. So, but the thing that I want to show you today, it's the ResultSetExtractor, and it's a quite different approach. In this case, you have an interface used to handle the entire result set. So the JdbcTemplate will not return to us one row at a time, but will return the complete result set just one time, and we can do whatever we want. So it's more flexible than RowMapper. So it's this is the definition of that will be our lambda function. So we have extract data result set. You can see here it's the complete result. There is no row number here because it's all the rows that will be returned to us. Let's see the common use case for this. So you need custom logic across rows. You want to do something with all the rows. Maybe you want to sum, you want to extract something, you want to transform a set of rules, you want to create maps or group rows in a different way that you cannot do it using SQL. So you want to return a complex structure. You only expect one result object, not one per row. Let's see an example. So it seems complicated, but it's not. So imagine that you want to return the names of people that work in a specific department. So we need a map, and in this case, this will be the ID of the department, and these will be the names of the employees. Okay. So in this case, we have JdbcTemplate. This is our query. And now we have the SQL query here, as usual. So department ID and name. And now this is the result set. And all this code, it's about processing the result set like we did using JDBC. So we create here an hash map that will be the returned value. But now you can see this pattern. This is the same pattern we use when we are using simple JDBC. So we receive a result set and then we iterate over all the rows. So while result set next, meaning while there are still rows to be processed, so we get the department ID, we get the name of the employee here, and then we add to the map if it doesn't exist yet. So here what we're doing is just, okay, check if the department ID is created or not as a key, and if it already is created, please add the name to an array list here of the employees. If it doesn't, just set the department ID, and if it already exists, add the name of the employee. So at the end of all this while, we'll have just on the integer part the ID of different departments, and for each one a list of the employees that work inside this department. So we process this. Of course, we could have accomplished this using a different approach with not a row by row, but probably using query for map or query for list to return a map. But this one gives us more control, so more granularity. We can do whatever we want with the result set. Again, this will only return one time the result set. The row mapper, it's for each row. This one just returns all the rows using the result set. So when to use what? If you want to simple mapping a row mapper, or return a list of records, of course you want a row mapper, because you want to process each one of the rows and create our entities. But if you need to work on the result set before returning anything, so if you need aggregation or return complex nested structures, or we want to do some manual result processing, of course the result set extractor, it is better. Can you combine both? Of course you can combine both, but it's not a good idea. It's quite strange for using RowMapper inside, for instance, a ResultSetExtractor or something like that. I don't advise to put JDBC templates inside other JDBC templates. If you start to have this kind of complex queries that you should do, maybe it's better to create a view or a stored procedure or a function, depending on the database that we are using, and just call it, and all the process will be up and on the server, and it will just return the data that you need. Okay, so in summary, if you want to capture this or something, I always like to provide a summary. So process per row, RowMapper, yes, but row by row ResultSetExtractor, no. This is the main difference between both. Of course, this is the complement is yes for ResultSetExtractor, no for Mapper. If you want to process the whole set, returns a list, both. So this one, it's out of the box. If you perform a query using RowMapper, you have a list, you have even a query or a query for list. If you want to use ResultSetExtractor, it's possible, but it should be on your side to create the list, because again, if you look into the code, you are processing the result set, so you can create a list here and return it. It will not be created automatically by the ResultSetExtractor. Handles grouping? No, RowMapper you cannot do grouping, but ResultSetExtractor, since you have all the customization available to you, of course you can create the grouping, and you can create whatever you want with the data that you are receiving. So custom object logic is quite limited. You have a lambda where you receive a row and you can do whatever you want with that row, but with the ResultSetExtractor you have access to all the rows at the same time, so you can do whatever you want. So let's see now an example. I prepared an example using the IntelliJ and our project. So let's just move to here. So I've created this REST controller where, okay, so here a user departments being there. When you call the user departments, there will be, it's not count, I think. Maybe I did a mistake here. Something. Okay, let's put like this. I will change this. This is, I refactored the code, but I forgot to change the name of the methods. It doesn't make any sense to count. Before it was a count, but I'm always cleaning the project if you are following my videos. So otherwise it will be just a mess of methods. So it's quite useful to once in a while to clean it. So it was working, I tested, but I forgot to rename the method. So here we'll get users by department, similar to the one that I show on the presentation. Okay, here on the service, it just calls user repository, get users by department, and now the code is very similar to the one we saw in the presentation, but now we are select department and username, not as count. This is crazy. I don't even, yeah, my refactor is not quite clean, so, but I can clean it now without breaking the code, I think. So we have select department, username from users. So I want to create a map. Here we'll have the name of the department, and here all the usernames belonging to the department. So it's just again the JdbcTemplate query with our query, this one for all the rows that exist in the table users. And now here we this is the map that will be a result again with the department name and the list of usernames. So we get the department, we get username, and now we add the department, or we create an entry for the department. In this map, if it doesn't exist, that's what this compute absent does. Of course, you can check with a if condition if it exists, and if it exists, you just add user and if it doesn't exist, we add the key, create an empty array list, and then we add the user. But you can do it all at once with just one call with a compute. If absent, it means that if the department doesn't exist, create it and put as a value the new array list empty. If it already exists, this will be ignored, this key here, this new array list, and it will do a put on this department and will call the add for this array list automatically here. So you can check this. This is quite a good addition to the Java in the latest versions, so we can work in a simplified way with hash maps. Okay, and that is what it does. So we compute all this result set. Everything will be on this map. We return the map. The map will be set to this variable, and we are returning it here. So we expect to see a department and below a list of usernames. So let's see if it's working or not. So I have here the postman. I'll move it to here. Okay, these are the users. Let's run. Okay, it's running. You can see the users and the department here. We have IT, we have HR, we have sales, and I think are 3 on sales. So we have 7 users in 3 different departments. And let's see I think it's users, departments, like this, plural. We can check here. It's this address here. So let's send, and you can see here the HR, 2 users, IT, 2 users, and the sales, 3 users as expected. So I think this is a nice addition. This result set, sometimes there are scenarios that we can't handle using just a RowMapper, and I saw a lot of people, rather than trying to discover other ways to get the result set, they just switch to JDBC, quite simple, and they do it manually because they didn't know about this overloading method on the query that allowed to return a complete result set rather than just returning row by row. And I think we have an example here, a RowMapper like this one. So this RowMapper, if you check, just to get the user by ID, and you can use a RowMapper, but this is row by row, it's a difference. We have a result set and the row number. We are mapping here, which is different than what we did right now to just get users by department, where we receive the old result set and we can do whatever we want with this code. So I hope this is also a nice addition to your toolbox regarding JDBC template. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.